Basement to your ears, this is the weekly meeting of the Queen City Improvement Bureau. Each week, the dedicated staff of the Bureau meet to try the distillery, eat at the McDonald's, sample the parking, and wander around the buildings of I guess, the Brant Exhibition Association, or whatever it's going to be called. That's for later. Until that day comes. Wait, one day. I got ahead of myself. One day, we'll escape this subterranean hell that is this sub-basement. But until that day comes, the city is not going to improve itself. So here we stay, improving things. And this meeting is now in session.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Great.
Yeah?
Just great.
Good.
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
Yes.
I'm using your name before we even got to the attendance.
Oh no.
I've worked up a little role play for us.
Oh joy.
Just something to liven up these dull evenings in the sub-basement.
Is this another one of those like workshop things, some kind of like team building exercise so that we can work together better?
Yeah, sorry about the last one with the trust fall.
Right?
Yeah. I went to the bathroom when you fell over. So,
yeah, right into the mud.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, but I mean, what can I do? What can I say?
Yeah.
It's
and
weird.
Then again, when we were doing it over the hot embers.
I know.
And then again, when we were doing it over the pit of the flesh-eating scarabs.
Sooner or later, you're going, wait a minute, are you confusing this with Temple of Doom? And then when I was eating the monkey brains. And then when I got my heart ripped out. Anyway, sooner or later you're going to have to stop trusting me.
Yeah.
And just keep standing.
Yeah, I'm a trusting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, right here. So I was going to say, I know behind you that looks like a pit, but the faithful man can like actually cross it. So if you wouldn't mind just taking like a little tumble backwards.
Okay, how about after the meeting?
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Then there's a cup I have to like offer you.
Okay.
Anyway, so role-playing exercise.
Yes.
Okay, so in this role-playing exercise, you are Regina City Council.
Okay, I think I can do that.
And I am...
am I all of them in aggregate?
Yeah, you're kind of like an agglomeration, like an unholy fusion.
Okay.
Into one sort of political entity.
Okay.
Many arms and legs and limbs and whatnot. And I am...
Accessibility! KBI!
Yeah, there we go.
I'm new here. I don't know how any of this works.
That's pretty much all of them right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I am going to be Mr. Branterson J. Brandt, CEO of Brandt Industries.
All right.
And Miracle Cures.
Okay.
Hey, City Council.
Welcome, sir. I'm sorry. Let me roll out this carpet for you so you don't scuff your shoes.
Okay, roll it out farther with more sycophancy this time.
Sorry.
Thank you. I don't even know why I'm thanking you.
Do you want this coffee?
I would love it. Thank you very much. Now, I have a proposal for you.
Oh, a proposal?
Yeah, I want that parcel of land. Yes.
I feel... I'm all on Twitter.
Okay, I know we're supposed to yes and in these scenarios. But there are limits.
Okay.
It's actually x.com now.
Okay. That's right. You're not here yet.
Oh, right, sorry.
Guests. Anyway, I have a proposal for you.
Oh.
A non-marriage proposal.
Okay.
No matrimony involved, unless we'll talk.
Okay.
I would like that big parcel of land over there with the big leaky buildings and the McDonald's and the distillery and that parking lot and I'm willing to sell it to you for these thumbtacks in my pocket.
Thumbtacks?
Yeah, and you have to reach in and grab them.
Oh, with pleasure.
Ah, that's right. And if you get like tetanus or any other disease, you're on the hook for paying for your medical bills.
Well, that only makes sense.
And I'm going to sue you for harassment for reaching in my pocket.
Oh, please do.
That's right. I think we've got a deal here.
Would you like this coffee?
Yes.
How about a hot stone massage?
Ooh, now we're talking. Please warm this coffee more in your stomach and then feed it to me later. Thank you.
Can
out of your mouth.
Do.
Just that got real weird. Anyway.
Hang on, we got to vote on this.
Oh, yes.
Approved.
It is all coming together as I have foreseen. Yeah, it's actually Palpatine. Anywho, should we do attendance?
We should do attendance.
All right. I'm Aiden.
And I am Paul.
No anagrams today. We're too
sir.
busy. We're getting serious.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is the Queen City.
They were leaky, and Brant wanted to buy our anagrams.
That's right. And they bought them for actually more than they're offering for real.
It's
Amazing.
true. We made off big time in this deal.
Yes. $6.72 million.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also have a guest.
We do.
His name is Pat Book.
Yeah, we've had Pat Book on before.
Yes.
Welcome back, Pat Book.
Proven improvement vector.
You are.
That's quite true. You have the paper to prove it.
Yes,
I believe.
I do.
You were also distinguished yesterday for being the lone voice of opposition at the executive committee meeting on considering the Brant and Real deal that, spoilers, passed executive committee. It was like a 7-4 vote?
Yep.
There were actually 4 people. I know Councillor Zakidniak must have voted against.
Yep, Flores did, and Redons did. And David Froh voted no, but boy, he wanted to vote yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised given what I heard about Froh's comportment.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I can offer, well, Paul can too, I think, some insight into that vote. I think he made very clear, not only during the meeting yesterday, but at his town hall the night previous, that his intention was to serve what he heard from his constituents. Mm-hmm. And I think there very much was a message in his town hall with Councillor Flores that, was interesting. The role play being what it was, there was an appreciable change in tenor when councillors were speaking with Mr. Semple, as opposed to say, I don't know, myself.
Yeah, right.
And I like Councillor Froh. I think he's doing a lot of good work, especially for a first-term councillor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of people come in and watch for a long time until they feel comfortable doing things. But he does things, and that's great, and I like that. But he did, once Gavin Semple was taking questions, note that he read in the room at his town hall a lot of excitement, which is not at all how I would describe it. And I think his vote reflects what I saw in that room as well.
Right. So the excitement was not for the deal to be passed. The excitement was for this thing to be shut down.
Yeah.
He also noted that when the deal goes through, I don't think he said when, if the deal goes through, me and my kids will be the first to line up at the revamped Brant Center.
I assume that's what he was talking about. I don't think he's taking his kids to the nightclub.
Yeah.
I don't think they get far past the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. Well, they could walk right under the velvet rope. So
you must be this tall to get into this nightclub.
Yeah. The drawings, I finally saw them before that executive committee meeting, the drawings of what he's planning to do, and very Trumpian, I gotta say. A lot of black, a lot of glass, a lot of gold, and a lot of chandeliers in that distillery.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So, yeah.
Chandeliers?
Yeah, like a hallway of chandeliers.
That was the last thing I expected to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he also did say, casual place. You could wear your blue jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure
while you dust our chandeliers.
I'm sure everybody rolling out of Eggerbition with their blue jeans on will belly up to the gilded bar as quick as they can.
Yeah. So how was it being in there? You were like one of the pillars of the community who came out to talk about the Brandt deal.
I've long suspected, but it's nice to have it confirmed that I am pillar-esque.
Yeah.
Kind of an ionic calling.
I prefer to think of it as iconic.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. You described me as the voice of opposition. I think in the moment I was speaking, I went in, and I will admit, I tempered my presentation significantly because after the full agenda came out with Brandt's presentation materials, the full roster of speakers, and the level of enthusiasm that other speakers were presenting, I think I'm a big believer in reading the room. And I've been around council meetings for 20 years, so I know if you are the one guy going in guns blazing, there's a tendency to write off a strong, objective opinion. So, and I genuinely think, like, the problem I always had as a news reporter was there was never enough airtime or column inches to really get into the details that a lot of these types of things deserve, because editors don't want you to go on for 3,000 words about every single council meeting. Yeah. But there's nuance to it. And I think I have a lot of sympathy for the councillors, those both for and, well, maybe not so much those for, but for those that are against, they are in maybe the worst position of a long stretch of time, because the administration is making it clear this is kind of the only way to retain anything on this site without redirecting a lot of money that the public has recently stated should not be going to things that aren't what most people would consider, I guess, priorities.
Right.
So it is like the definition of damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you're skeptical about this deal. And when I went in yesterday, I was skeptical, but I was willing to suspend a bit of that if we could get some more insight into not only the details of the deal that's before council, but also what came before it.
Yeah.
If we could learn about what the city offered and what this company, biggest company in the history of Saskatchewan, as far as I know.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. It's a group of companies, and he was very much trying to parse that on the floor of council, the division between Brandt and Brandt Sports and Entertainment.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot of stickiness to this notion that we can't say things because, the administration signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Which, that might be typical in business when you're dealing with what I assume are, depending on how you cut it, $500 million could be $1 billion.
Yeah.
A lot of this to the layperson like me, which is the position I speak from, is theoretical and hard to get your head around. So I went into it thinking, well, maybe I'll pump the brakes a little on things I might otherwise say to ensure that the ears don't get turned off immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I had information, I think I could maybe tip slightly over the line of not only is this going to happen, and it has to happen one way or the other, to maybe there's good that can come out of this.
Right.
And all that was torpedoed after I listened to Mr. Simplemake's presentation. But maybe that's getting ahead of the discussion.
Oh, I don't know. Because I don't know. Like, I listened to the whole thing. It took me a very long time to get through it all. And I've come out and I'm like, I'm on board. I'm 100% on board. I'm 110% on board now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're still role playing.
Yeah. Set aside all the red flags, the land value, set it all aside. I'm like, this deal did not go far enough in my mind. We could have unloaded all of Real on Brandt, and we didn't. We held back Mosaic Stadium. What were we thinking? The tens of millions of dollars we own on the stadium? Pocket change for a mighty industrialist like Mr. Brandt. Simple.
Mr. Brandt. I introduced the figure of Mr. Brandt earlier, hoping it would infect this hour of radio.
And lo, he comes to us and says, I don't want to pay property tax on this because I have to dig my way out of an $11 million deficit hole, so I shouldn't pay property tax. Leave aside the fact that he's not paying property taxes on any of his major operations in or near the city. Why should he pay tax? We could turn the whole real campus into a libertarian paradise.
Whoa.
No taxes.
Okay. A libertarian state, like
exactly.
within the city?
Exactly.
Beautiful.
You roll up to the beautiful arch that he's planning to put in for his distillery. You roll up to that golden arch, and right there would be like a little kiosk for Bitcoins or Brant coins.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
And the whole time you're there on campus, you can spend your Brant coins.
You can drink a simple sling at the bar.
Exactly. And, he's going to be putting in this digital screen, the power boards inside the arena. And that could be like a ticker for the whole crypto market. And then you would know how much your Brant coins were worth. Can you buy 1,000 beers for your friends? Or are you an indentured servant to the Brant Company for the next 50 years?
If you're unlucky when you enter, you may never leave.
I'm concerned that so many innovative revenue tools are coming out right now. You may make yourselves obsolete.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
And last thing.
Replace us with an AI.
Yes, we are going to have to give up when we give Mr. Brandt the whole of the real district. We will have to give up things like the Affinity Plex, where all that soccer is played, and the Cooperator Center, where all that indoor ice is for people to play like community sports, like hockey. But hockey moms and soccer dads, they are on the vanguard of the "Don't Raise My Taxes" army. And now they will get to, live in a world where they don't have to sign their kids up for subsidized sports. They can pay the full price in Brant coin.
Ooh. Okay, so during that whole presentation, were the words pickle and ball mentioned? I'm curious.
They're like the one group, and I think this is one thing that Mr. Brandt has made a big mistake on. They're the one group that's getting completely screwed on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to be kicked out of their building, and their lease is up.
You don't want to mess with the pickleball people.
Yeah, they've already messed with the skateboarders. They were tearing down their half pipes. Their half pipes are just kindling now.
Those are a bunch of punks, those kids. Anyways,
So anyways. That's how I felt after that meeting.
Yeah, well, I did have to leave before Mr. Semple got through.
How come?
By my calculation, I was one of 2 or 3 people who weren't actively being paid to be in that room or counting on some downflow economic activity sliding in their direction at some point.
So you were offered no Brant coin.
I had children to pick up from school. I had dinner to make. I had dogs to park. There were life concerns that you can't. For someone who has to take a day off work and then it ends up being your entire day, it's not really feasible to just sit in the room till things are resolved. So I'm glad I got to say what I had to say before I had to leave. And I think I went through several versions of my address. The counselors would have seen 2, 3 others that I, feverishly typed out and deleted because some of them were too sassy and some were too safe. It was tough to find the right tone, but what it came down to for me, and what I've heard a lot of people say, the property tax is the biggest thing that I've heard people talk about. They don't want to pay property taxes ever, and if they have to after the first 5-year exemption, they want the city to pay them 95% of it back in a grant, which feels like and absolutely has the structure of a quid pro quo, but I don't know what the other half of that is. Yeah. And then there's a litany of, I think it's like 10 to 12 different other areas where any other property owner would have to potentially chip in costs or pay revenue directly to the city for services or access. And the deal strictly indemnifies them from ever having to do any of that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been watching city council meetings for 20 years, as you have, and the question of fairness is something that comes up consistently over those years.
Yeah.
And the other thing that comes up consistently over those years that I mentioned in the meeting is the clarion call from Pat Fiacco and every mayor since then that property tax is a outdated, ancient system of revenue generation, and we cannot rely on it, and we need to find other revenue sources.
Yet that's pretty much what we've got. I mean, when it comes to revenue generation for cities.
It's very limited. There's 3, when I was at the city, there were presentations for new councillors and sometimes old councillors, because sometimes you need reminding of things, but there's 3 revenue sources. There's property tax, there's transfers from the provincial government, and there's user fees and the like. There's other categories, but that's where you get your money. And if you can't do things like sponsorship rights, which we've investigated and essentially jettisoned because there's too much administrative cost that goes along with it to make it worth the squeeze. So what are you left with? You're left with whatever you can find, I guess. But there's consistent areas like the rental of Confederation Park that any other event holder conceivably would have to do or ask to be forgiven that cost from the city. And they have in their agreement they don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. They want naming rights to the entire district and the revenue therefrom, but elsewhere in the agreement, the city would give them the autonomy to sell sponsorship and naming rights not only for their properties, which, sure, fair enough, but also for city-retained assets, which would include the stadium, as long as they don't conflict with Rough Rider sponsorship deals.
Right.
And in those instances, they would split that revenue 50-50 with the city. And yet, despite being roughly equal landholders, they want all the revenue from naming rights.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I just, from the standpoint of fairness and consistency with what this city has been saying for 20 years and the position of we can't rely on property taxes alone, that's what I went in there to say. I don't understand how an administration, let alone a council, could stand by this when you're passing up these opportunities that we've identified for decades need to be in place in some form or another.
Yeah.
And the argument, I'm sure, will be, 1, you're painfully naive. 2, the knock-on effects of this surely would make up for those lost revenues. They have development rights, which will net them money, but it'll also net property taxes. So when, and I think it is when, because it's something that's been talked about not only by Brant and their previous auspices to have more influence on how the district and, at times, other parts of the city would be developed, it's clear that is something that they would pursue, I think, from a capitalist perspective. A lot of property tax comes from having a hotel that wasn't there before. So, yes, you do have downstream revenues, but when you have at least 25 to 33% of councillors who have suggested, either overtly or through action, that we should run the city more like a business. I think that's something I said at the meeting. Successful businesses don't leave money on the table. Brant certainly isn't. They're coming to you and saying, this is the deal. You take it or we're out of here. And we're not paying for anything. We're taking on all the risk. And we're never going to give you a cent of actual cash to help out the taxpayers looking at 15, 10, 7, who knows what, property tax increases year over year. There's, downstream effects are one thing, but we have to be able to get there. And then just thinking about other potential, like we didn't even get into other potential impacts from this. If they want the city to help them fund and execute complete parking lot renovations in the next 2 years and add what to me is a ludicrous right in, right out on Sass Drive. That seems insane to me. But the city's going to have to pay at least $2 million for that, is what I read.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
Plus, they still have to negotiate this with the
of course.
But then you have likely $15 million, $10 to $15 million of cladding on those buildings, other improvements that they want to make. focused largely on the Brant Center, but they do have to address 15 million. Maybe you can't put that into Brant. Maybe there's others. But from the holistic perspective that a city should, and probably is, we don't see it, but probably is taking, hopefully, we're constrained with our short construction season in what we can execute in a year because there is limited money, there's limited workers. City crews do some road work.
Yep.
They contract out quite a lot of it. If Brant, a private company, can pay well above what a city can to get that work done, and they siphon construction workers, construction materials to their priority projects, where does that leave the city and the need to complete drastic projects like 11th Avenue, which has been going on for 3 years? Question mark?
3.
Is there a knock-on effect there that we're not anticipating of those materials being more expensive, the work we can do being more expensive, and there being less of it, and our taxpayers going to be psyched about that?
To add on to that, we have the indoor aquatic facility that is going to be built coincident with these improvements happening at Brant. And we also have this AI data center down in the southeast that is also being built in theory right now.
You know what I have been saying for the last several episodes, bloviating on about how this is never going to happen. And I think I was probably wrong. It seems like it's going to happen.
No, I think they're going to. Right, we can get into this another time, but I think they're going to build a shell of a building, and then it will be a bingo hall.
Well, our bingo halls are severely depleted.
Exactly. Yeah, we're severely under bingoed or underhauled.
I think there will be a lot of construction there, and I think you're right. There's going to be a ton of construction because he wants to get all the cosmetic work and all the paving work done at the Grey Center before Grey Cup, and so this is going to be bleeding off all of the material and workers, as you said. Where does that leave the indoor aquatic facility? And how do you think this council is going to feel if they get another visit from administration saying we have to add another $30 million to the price tag because labor cost inflation?
Yeah.
That is not going to go over well. And they continue, certain councillors, trying to kill that aquatic center project, which I think is a crucial piece of municipal infrastructure that has just been, really hampered by indecision and bad decisions for the duration of that project. So, anyways, we have to go to innovative revenue tools.
Oh,
yeah.
All right then, let's do that thing.
Back from Innovative Revenue Tools.
Paul.
Yeah, what's up?
I recently went to a hall and it was very dark. I turned on the lights and it was dark hall.
Still dark, even with the lights on?
But you could see, but it was darkness visible. What? Is that a Miltonian road? Yes, it is. Anyway.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. We're getting literate up in here.
Hey, guess what else is coming up?
What?
Friday, May 1st to Sunday, May 3rd. It's Jane Walk.
Jane's Walk.
Yeah.
Jane's Walk.
It's back. So this is about people in the community putting together tours of their community to talk about things that they find important or concerning or exciting or funny, and they take you out and you get to go around. Some of the highlights are there will be a silent sensory walk in Cathedral, a walk downtown that we'll be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of pedestrian infrastructure. And there will be a walk through the Cathedral Forest Project, which is in Les Sherman Park, and they are foresting a large section of the park next to the creek there. And it's 2 years now. They've been planting trees, getting close to their next planting. And so you can go take a tour, see how the forest is coming along. Cool. It's really neat. Actually, if you get a chance, I'd recommend checking it out.
Small, but non-zero chance of being possessed by the ghost of Jane Jacobs, though.
Yes, I mean, that always happens on these. So you can find out more about Jane's Walk Regina at their Facebook page, Instagram account, and, sign the indemnification that they're not liable if you get possessed by the ghost of Jane Jacobs. One person every year during Jane's Walk is possessed. It might be you.
It might be you. And you should be so lucky.
Yeah.
May I pitch an innovative revenue tool that has struck me, gentlemen?
You may.
Thank you. I notice, and I've been in a lot of radio studios in my day, I've never seen one with what I assume to be a communal back scratcher in it.
Correct. Yeah, I've never actually used the communal back scratcher, but I know it's there. It might also be some kind of punishment device. We're not sure.
Well, it brings to mind a notion.
Okay.
I don't know if it would be better off as a city council branded or a Brandt branded, but
a back scratcher.
If there's back scratching going on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to make money off it.
There is a possibility that we have not considered with this deal, that because there's the Brandt Center, Brandt Industries might just be trying to reclaim its ancestral homelands.
Interesting.
Maybe. Yeah.
No, see, I'm still convinced.
Oh, you're arguing with me on this?
See,
it's
I'm
objectively
true. Well, no, you're right. And I mean, he has a claim perhaps on that. But Mr. Brandt really wants the Brandt Center. It's leaking. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't have a forever life. Right? It's past its half-life.
It's not immortal.
No,
unlike
exactly.
Mr. Brandt himself.
So there's got to be something about it that we don't know that's awesome. Something underneath.
Oh, Gutel, go on.
Yeah, so maybe a diamond mine?
A diamond mine?
Zoinks? And I guarantee
does he need diamonds to emblazon his 10-gallon hat?
I'm willing to bet that we are soon going to hear that the Brandt Center needs to be torn down because it's haunted by the ghost of the hockey player Jean Vachon.
Oh.
And when we camp out there and catch him and rip that mask off his face,
it'll be Mr. Brandt.
Mr. Brandt.
Oh, my stars.
And he would have gotten away with it, too.
Yeah.
If not for those meddling QCIB co-hosts.
Exactly.
There is an intriguing about face there, right? From a guy who has been lobbying for years for a new arena to turn around and say, give me your leaky barn, your weary event center.
Did you catch, though, some of the little hints he was dropping?
Were there hints, Paul? Were there teasings of things to come?
I think there might have been.
Do tell. I'm here for the
mentioned multiple times that what he's doing, building an event complex that he'll be making profit off of, is philanthropy. Mm-hmm. But that this is only the first investment in Regina that he is making, the first big investment that he's going to make. And so he mentioned that 2 or 3 times, that this is just the beginning.
You have more change from his couch to spray up in the city? What?
And the other thing that he let drop is he pointed out that the Brandt Center, as you said, is not going to live forever and that eventually it's going to need to be replaced. And then he said, so maybe it should go downtown. Maybe that's the place that it should go. That's not a direct quote, but that's the little nugget, the little nug he dropped in his speech, is that he is thinking about still a Brandt Center replacement in the downtown.
That's the nice thing about a hobby horse, is you can set it aside once you get tired of it and it doesn't need to be fed and watered. You can come back to it anytime.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I think about this.
Just sell him the city. We just sell Brandt the city.
We skip to the end.
Yeah, just cut to the chase. All this actual administration taking care of things.
Yeah,
I mean they'd still be taking care of things.
When you look at some of the buildings in this town, they're pretty broken down. So I'm sure that most of the city is negative value, but based on the way they did the valuations in this report,
the Brantonia, the Brandtish Demokratische Republik, whatever.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do think, though, it bothers me that this suggestion that we might not be taking the Brandt Center off our books completely, right? If there is still somewhere in City Hall and in the back of Mr. Brandt's mind this idea that there's going to be a new arena at some point in the future, and that the way these things usually work out is that the city foots the bill for them and then rents them out to a hockey team or whatever, then we're saying here that, we're saving all of this money because now we don't have the Brandt Center and it's, deferred maintenance and its replacement costs on our books. But if there is still the potential of building a Brandt Center in the near, medium, or even long-term future, it's not off our books, right? Like, we're not paying into it right now, but we're going to pay for it eventually.
Yeah. There's... I said earlier that whatever potential support I might have felt for this plan was negated by what I heard from him. And I think, character counts for something. And I don't know him. I can't speak to his character. Other people there suggested that they could. So I will leave that to them. But consistency certainly should count in a partnership.
Right.
Right. And at the beginning of his presentation, he was very clear when he said it's a very hard business, and he recognizes it's hard business. Real never made money, not once, in any annual report he could find.
Yeah.
And he literally said, I don't have the words in front of me, but so maybe I shouldn't say literally, but he did say, talking about the financial aspect of taking this project on, the financial thing, you don't need to worry about that. Right? Which makes sense when your group of companies has for quite some time made at least $1 billion of profit a year.
Yeah.
You could probably do that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
He later said, again, citing how tough a business it is, that they could throw everything Brandt has at this. They have a lot of levers that they could play with. Very strong message. Still later, under questioning from Councillor Froh about whether or not he would be willing to stoop to the level of Regina citizens and go out and into the community to try to win hearts and minds and pitch his vision and get people on board, to which he replied, why would I do that when there isn't a meeting of the minds? So I think he knows what the public sentiment likely will be. But in answering that question, he then pivoted, I would say somewhat strongly, to suggest that if he was to have to pay property tax ever, it just wouldn't be possible. The whole thing would come down like a house of cards.
Yeah.
That business, he said, that business cannot sustain having to pay a property tax. And reminder, this is a forever thing. He wants 99 up to 99 years to lease the ITC, but he's getting the rest of the land forever.
Yeah.
So in 2,742, if Brandt Sports and Entertainment suddenly has to pay 5% of what an average commercial building holder would have to pay in a property tax, at that point, it all falls in on itself. It strains credulity to me, but...
He also said something I thought was revealing there, which was, he talked about how if we were subject to property taxes, we being Brandt, of which we are all citizens now, that a council in the future could decide they want it back and just start charging whatever taxes they wanted and then claw back everything that he's built. And I'm like, that's not how taxation has or will ever work, right? Like, you just go to a few council meetings, a few budget meetings, and they're struggling every year to keep taxes on business and on residents as low as they possibly can so that they are forever broke at the city and can never do something like a real district in the way that Brandt will be able to do it. But he seemed to imply that he saw government as there to take his money and wreck his thing. And even though that's never been, a worry for him, but here we are.
And I think the three of us are pretty on board with saying that Brandt's not giving a great deal to the city.
Sure.
But I don't blame Brandt for offering such a deal. I mean, that's their business. That's kind of their job, is to offer the worst deal possible and see what happens and see if they can get that.
You would expect someone whose companies make potentially billions of dollars a year in profit to play hardball.
Yeah.
But
the city...
we have something he wants. How
Diamond Mine.
How quickly could he conceivably walk away with it? I guess, like he's talking about, he goes around the world during COVID to meet every single employee in his many companies around the world. His son was on the call, who works for him. His son was on the call from New Zealand for the entirety of the meeting, which I think would have started at like 3 a.m. New Zealand time.
In a hobbit hole with a satellite phone.
Indeed. So, I mean, it's hard to gauge that against, he talked about, since he came up with this idea and started bargaining with the city, he's basically done nothing else for the last 6 months. So that's great, and that's a lot of focused attention.
Like he's building a ballroom.
Jeez.
But is that sustainable? Like, if you want to build a nice nightclub that could be like your clubhouse, and that could be where you hang out after your hockey team, fills half of a hockey arena, you can have that. But does that suggest that he's in it for a very long haul? Because, as you noted, he wasn't talking about this changing the city forever. He was saying, what a few years ahead of us.
Yeah. That's very interesting. He never talked about decades, generations.
No.
Yeah. We're on 91.3 FM CJTR AccessNow Community Radio. We're the Queen City Improvement Bureau. We're talking with Pat Book, the lone voice of dissent from yesterday's executive committee meeting. Those are excellent points. You know what else he was talking about is one of the things that he has to do to make this go is he's going to have to double or triple the number of events at Real.
Okay.
Which I found interesting because that was the same petard upon which Tim Reed hoisted himself skyward like Icarus and fell. I think he flew to the sun, Icarus, didn't he?
Yes.
Nobody's seen it.
Icarus flew to the sun and touched it.
Yeah,
so I don't know why.
He purchased a timeshare on the sun. He's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. There's one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and it's had more to do with like on the administration side. And it's this number, the $79 million that we're supposed to be saving from this deal. And CFO Darren Anderson, who's no longer, as of tomorrow, will no longer be the CFO. Friday is his last day.
Right.
What a way to go out.
Yeah, right? He talked about how this deal was about, playgrounds, accessible playgrounds for kids, and keeping taxes low, and fixing potholes. And they cited the $79 million in savings. But the thing that bothers me about it, and this was raised by Councillors Flores and Zakidniak as well during the meeting, is that this is based on the idea that we're going to be spending $14 million a year on capital at Real, which is not a thing that I think we've ever done unless we were building something like the stadium. And so it's true that those buildings are in desperate shape and probably need $14 million worth of investment every year going forward. But that's not on our capital plan. So this is not money that we've budgeted. This is not those $14 million a year are not things that are that we have approved to get taken out of the budget. So I think when people hear this $79 million and it's going to make us accessible playgrounds, if in 2025 we couldn't build a ton of accessible playgrounds with ease without a 10% mill rate increase, nothing has materially changed for 2027 from this deal. It is still going to be just as difficult. And I think people are going to be, they're going to feel like we've lost all of this infrastructure deficit, and so therefore next year is going to be easier and the year after that. And when they find that the mill rate increase is still going to be like 7 or 8%, they're going to be ticked.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing where, you can, and I tried to get into this, I think, when under some questions from Councillor Turnbull yesterday. You can understand the thinking behind it to a point.
Yeah.
But, and I think everyone in the room probably bristled at my suggestion that that's theoretical cost.
Right.
Because when Councillor Bizot incorrectly talks about we're losing $300,000 a week, that's not true. And that's not the money they will save in operations doesn't even come close. Like, that is the operation money, not theoretical money they haven't had and haven't spent and would not have spent. Like, we wouldn't even know that $79 million number, I don't think, if this offer hadn't come forward unsolicited. Like, if people haven't picked up on that yet, he came to them and said, at a time when rage in the public is higher than, as far as I can tell, it's ever been about the city's debt load, the inability to add new projects, and some of the highest tax increases ever conceived in the modern era. Yeah. To me, sounds like someone smelled an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Nonetheless, I don't think we would have that number if they hadn't gone through this process. So without this happening, there wouldn't have been a push to say, well, gosh, let's put 10, 12, 14 million dollars into those buildings. Yeah. Because, and again, this is a thing I could not get into in my presentation yesterday, but was in previous drafts. What I've seen from this council in regards to those other contentious topics is the sentiment that we are the new council. Yeah. These dies were cast decades ago when the city got it in its head that 0% was ever a good idea for your property tax rate. Yeah. This is a pretty direct outflow of that notion that we had to save people from having to pay any more, even though the cost of everything goes up every year. That's human inevitability. And for a councillor to come in and say, it's not my fault, that is technically true. Yeah. But when we had the election show, November 2024, you guys had me on. Yeah. Great time.
Yeah, indeed.
Not maddening. You asked at the end of that show what I wanted to see out of this council, and I think I said the two things I've been saying to people who care for a very long time. One, have a serious conversation about service provision and what we can afford to do and what we should be doing with the community. We're kind of having that now, but again, not at the behest of the city or the council. An outside force is compelling this conversation to happen. Yeah. The other thing that I said, make this a full-time job, because what we're getting in some of these ridings, not all of them, but some of them, are people who have never engaged in council processes or paid attention to council issues beyond what shows up on the front page of the paper, but have a lot of axes to grind, and they're looking to grind them in a direction they're not even sure of when they get in the door. Yeah. And it takes that kind of person a long time to get up to speed. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you had people who were politically engaged and recognized the issues they were walking into, they could conceivably come into council with ideas of things to try. So while it is technically true, this is not their fault. But any one of those councillors around that horseshoe could have come into this term and said, geez, we really heard last term COVID kicked the heck out of real, and it might not ever recover. We know that there's infrastructure debt everywhere in the city. Gosh, we probably have that at real as well. Maybe I should have an idea of how we could address a piece of property and a philosophical service that the city has been doing for, by some estimations, nearly 150 years. Yeah. Maybe that's worth protecting, and maybe we should try literally anything to right that ship. Nobody did that. We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. Thank goodness Regina's rich stepdad has come in to bail us out.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have a lot of questions and frankly a lot of disdain for how this deal has come up, but that's not one-sided. I wish we had more than one counselor or two counselors who were not only going out into the community actively to solicit opinion on this, but someone who would have come in with a notion that something should be tried and we can be creative and try things. We're not just here to rubber stamp whatever we get from administration or to lobby against whatever we get from administration, depending on your philosophical bent. We can try things. We have levers of power of our own. We don't have to wait for capital and capitalism to dictate our actions.
I think that's where I was going earlier when I said that, I don't blame Brent for doing what it does and offering the deal that benefits Brent. I blame the city for not doing anything and then taking this deal. And really,
And I think I suggested yesterday and again tonight, there is an air of inevitability about it. Mm-hmm. If we're taking bets, I think it'll probably pass 10-1.
Yeah.
If not unanimously.
Yeah, I think it'll be 10-1, but that's where my money is.
Yeah, and I you sort of can't blame them. And I have, on one side of my head, I fully expect that this effort will be successful, because I don't think Sean Semple gets into something with a high degree of opportunity to fail. Mm-hmm. That's not how you get where that family has gotten.
Right.
But I don't see anything from him that suggests that he truly wants that success to be felt mutually. Because if it was, he literally called it philanthropy.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of philanthropy anywhere else in the world hinges on you getting acres and acres and acres of real property.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to print money off of that by developing a very significant portion of that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can win a lottery you didn't enter, but I sure heard that we were winning the lottery a lot.
Yeah.
And I just can't get my head around it. And again, I think in a lot of ways I'm naive about the machinations of corporate money, but I don't get the mentality of a lifelong Regina resident saying, I really want to help my community, but you give me exactly what I want and we won't have a discussion about anything else.
Yeah. That
doesn't feel like winning the lottery. That feels like you're being compelled to bend to someone else's vision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is the most cynical take I can offer on it, but it's
you came to the right place.
In my head, it's increasingly becoming the only real tangible explanation.
It's more like you're not winning the lottery; you are the lottery fund. Yeah,
and time will tell. But it's a lot of time before we're going to know for sure.
I think the fact that council ends up not having to make those decisions about what a city does that you had raised before is really fascinating, and that we never had the discussion about should we continue to have an exhibition as a city. Is that a thing a city should do? Mm-hmm. In the contract, Semple gets to make that decision, right? If
functionally, yes,
it says in there if the QCX is not making a profit, if it's no longer like a good business, he can end it, right? And without violating any terms of the contract. So, we are basically handing the hard decisions to a corporation and taking us out of it completely. So,
by virtue of, I don't know if you would call it inadvertent neglect, there is a long chain of culpability with no one definitive direction for a finger to point.
Yeah.
And when do we start worrying about what's next? We're doing a lot of work downtown because we need a lot of work downtown.
Yeah.
But we don't, we have plans that we've largely ignored over the last 10 or 15 years.
Invested nothing in.
So what becomes our community?
Yeah.
Let's have, if the administration needs alternative revenue sources and we don't have any, and we can't create any because the provincial government gives municipalities those powers, and they've made it clear, I think, that they're not interested in granting them, what's left? I fear service level or entire services being deleted from existence because there is only so much money.
Or sold for cheap.
And if we don't have those conversations, what's going to compel us to act next?
Mm-hmm. On that happy note, we are pretty much out of time. Thanks for coming in, Pat.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure. Genuinely. I said I had fun yesterday, and I did. This is always more fun.
Oh, thank you. But we've got to get moving.
All right. Should we move to adjourn the meeting?
I would second that motion.
Nice. I'm glad when we follow Robert's Rules of Order so closely. The meeting is adjourned. Motion passed. Meeting is adjourned. You've been listening to the Queen City Improvement Bureau on 91.3 FM AccessNow Community Radio. Tune into the community. Your hosts are Paul Deschênes and Aidan Morgan. Music by Guidewire, a.k.a. Ryan Hill. Our guest tonight, Pat Book, certified improvement vector and friend of the show. You can find us, we broadcast live as right now, 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursday evenings, and rebroadcast Monday afternoons, 3 to 4 p.m. Listen to us when you're driving. It's great fun. Also, of course, you can find us on AccessNow Radio and our website, queencityib.com. Coming up next, we've got probably the Record Room, and then there's more music, more music, and it never ends. All right, that's it. Keep on improving, Regina.